Hold, citizen.
Such displeasure and disappointment. Nothing works, even though every calculation is precise. Now an interruption. How infuriating. Wait. Sometimes the great gear turns from frustration to opportunity. Divine energy. I'll have you know I participated in Lord Sother Seal's 9 analyses of the exalted enigmas. But we have more important matters. I'm about to determine the correlation between color and time, and I could use another set of hands. A reciprocal exchange. Interesting, yes. I can see the benefits of such an arrangement. Very well. Just activate the crystals in the proper sequence while I modulate the energy flow. Less chance of an explosion that way. Keep going. Correct. So far, so good. Like clockwork you are. Close, very close. One more to go. Yes, I love it when the gears align. Perfect. Such are the benefits of an extra set of appendages. The energy flows freely and without disruption, allowing the rods and the pistons to align in a most pleasing manner. Thank you. Now, why do you want to know about divine energy? Scent. How intriguing. I was just thinking about my former master, Sother Seal, and the experiments we conducted. He desperately sought to understand the power he and his companions attained, especially whether or not that power was temporary. Not while I assisted him. He had a tool that he used to drain away minute bits of his own divine energy to store and study. He could extract it and return it as he saw fit. Not sure what became of the tool, but here are my notes from those days. More questions? Well, Lord Sother Seal attributed curiosity to intellectual superiority. Suppose I should do the same. Ask, and I will attempt to tighten the cogs of your ongoing education as best I can. Odd question. Is a hammer a weapon? A saw? A Dwemer spring spanner? No, it was just a tool. A device crafted by Sother Seal to aid in his endless experiments. Suppose I could imagine ways to modify the device, but For what reason? Haven't a clue. Tools have a way of wandering off when you don't stay vigilant. Had a guar that used to swallow tools when I wasn't looking. Glowed for a month until the enchantment dissipated and the tool passed. Should have heard the screams.
At last. Did you see what's happening outside? Red Mountain rumbles louder and more frequently. The sky grows dark, and worst of all, the people are beginning to notice. Soon I'll have to muster the Ordinators to keep them from the palace doors. In part, Lord Vivec is not well. I won't allow his followers to see him in this state. He continues to lose energy, and it's becoming difficult for him to maintain the realm in his usual fashion. Now, what did your investigations uncover? I'll review these documents and present your findings to Lord Vivec. I was against bringing you into this investigation, but I was wrong. Thank you for aiding us. You should go see Lord Vivec now. He's been asking about you. I'll be along shortly. Very well. Tell me what you learned at each of the locations, and let's see what conclusions we can come to. Barrelzar faithfully served Sotha Sil. He's as loyal to the Tribunal as I am. He would never intentionally harm Lord Vivec. But that tool he mentioned. Perhaps one of the priests Vivec sent away could search the temple archives for more information. Lord Vivec doesn't want his followers to see him in such a weakened state. Only you, Canon Levuel, and myself are permitted into his palace now. Speaking of the palace, Lord Vivec wants to see you when we're done here. So your notes say, and this Saren assisted you. Interesting. Most Ashlanders want nothing to do with the Tribunal. Even so, they rarely become aggressive. I'd say this Chodala bears watching. If we can spare it, I'll send an armiger to Aldrin. Interesting theory. Perhaps Chodala's staff can steal Vivec's energy. But I have a hard time imagining how an Ashlander could accomplish such a feat. Lord Vivec said the draining has grown more intense since you left. It doesn't look well.
I demand you make way. Let me see Lord Vivec.
Lord Vivec isn't receiving visitors today. My lord, please let me send for aid. Perhaps one of the healers can help you.
Pain is best tolerated in private, as I have written in the 37th ballad.
There must be something I can do.
You can call the Archcanon. He should hear the news our friend brings us. The river drains into the sea, as my divinity flows out of me. Need some work. As you can see, I continue to lose energy, and it has made me somewhat agitated. Have you made any progress toward discovering the source of my discomfort? An Ashlander? That seems unlikely, but I trust your instincts. We need to find out more about this Chodala and the ancient enemy that aids him. Take this. Another token of my appreciation. And look, here comes the Archcanon now.
My lord, the Outlander may have actually discovered something. After further examination of the documents you brought back, I have to agree with your assessment. The Ashlander Chodala has somehow siphoned divine energy away from Lord Vivek. Not exactly. But now that we know that the affliction isn't natural, we can work toward a solution, one that probably involves Chodala's staff. How the Ashlander got his hands on Sothasil's tool and turned it into a weapon is beyond me, though. Eventually, but we need to be cautious. If Chodala is as respected as you say, attacking him would start a war we can't afford to partake in. Go to Aldrin and talk to his sister, Saren. I don't trust her either, but she worked with you before. Get to Aldrin and locate Saren. She needs to tell us more about Chodala and then help us acquire his staff. Without it, we can't restore Vivek. Meanwhile, I need to placate the populace. The people grow concerned over Vivek's continuing isolation.
I am a free...
Honest merchant. Trust this one.
Help! Someone, please help!
Outlander, quickly! This way! I've been thinking about my brother's claim that he's the Nerevarine since we last spoke. No matter how I try, the word tastes false on my tongue. And now I fear he's about to convince the wise woman that his quest for power will benefit the tribes. My brother is respected and revered. He has allies in all of the tribes, not to mention his personal Red Exiles. We have to proceed with caution. Respect the Ashlander customs and traditions. Anything else will lead to violence and bloodshed. We talked to my brother. Tried to convince him this isn't the way. Barring that, we make sure the wise woman doesn't get drawn into his madness. Whatever Chodala says or does, don't attack him. We don't need a war between the houses and the Ashlanders. The wise woman. I was hoping she'd be here.
You're too late, dear sister. Despite your protestations, the wise woman has gone to the cave of the incarnate to confirm my claim.
Brother, do you really want to pursue this dangerous course?
There was a time when you gave me your unconditional support, Seren. I miss those days.
My brother Chodala's about to do something foolish and dangerous. But by dusk and dawn, Azura put you and I on the same path for a purpose. I just hope we have enough time. He's about to claim the title of the Nerevarine and try to unite the Ashlander tribes gathered here. He already convinced the Red Exiles to support him. He's using them to intimidate the other tribes. If he persuaded the Wise Woman to his cause... Wise Woman Dovrasi, the most respected counselor and spirit guide this side of Red Mountain. She went to the Cavern of the Incarnate to meditate on Chodala's claim. If she confirms my brother's assertion, the tribes will follow wherever he leads. Agreed, but I dare not leave Chodala alone with the tribes. I feel the hand of Azura in all this. Go to the Cavern of the Incarnate and talk to the Wise Woman. I'll stay here and try to keep things under control until you return. The cavern's to the northeast of Aldrin, on the other side of the mountain. Hopefully, the rumbling and lava won't slow you down too much. Get to the cavern and talk to the Wise Woman. If she accepts Chodala's claim about the Nerevarine...
She won't refuse my claim. Just in case, make sure the Red Exiles are ready.
Your word is law, Nerevarine. I have to do this?
For the 80th time, help is on the way. I've received assurances from House Redarin. They will handle this trouble. For the 80th time, help is on the way. I've received assurances from House Redarin. They will handle this trouble.
Azura is my shield, you foul creatures. Thank you for aiding me, but I sense you came for a different purpose. Let's talk inside the cavern. An outlander? Surely there must be another way. No, my lady, of course not. I'll do as you ask. Come here, outlander. We must talk. It feels strange to talk to an outlander in such a sacred place, but the Queen of the Night Sky insists. I need to render judgment on an important claim, and she says you can help me reach the correct decision. Words of truth from the mouth of an outlander. Remarkable. The Red Exiles and a few others believe that Chodala is the Nerevarine. He's convinced them, but not me. I came here to consider my options. I fear a bloodbath if I oppose his claim. Perhaps, but I must remain impartial. If someone else reveals the flaws in Chodala's claims by comparing him to the failed incarnates, that might do the trick. We thought the incarnates were possessed by the spirit of Nerevar, but each had a critical flaw that made them destined to fail to fulfill the prophecy. Their spirits reside here. Yes, you should speak to the incarnates. I see Azura's wisdom now. Take this pouch of blessed grave dust. Sprinkle a pinch upon the bones of the incarnates to call forth their spirits. Return to Aldrin after you have learned all you can. Perhaps we can curb Chodala's ambitions before they lead us to war. We need knowledge to defeat Chodala, Outlander. Listen well to what the failed incarnates have to say. Once I was the hope of my people, but then my claim was proven false. Now I wait, and I hope for the Nerevarines' return. State your question, Outlander, and I shall do as Azura urges. To fulfill the prophecy, I followed a path of blood and war. In the end, my path became a road that led nowhere, and I was cast down from my lofty spot. Take my scroll, and help the wise woman understand the futility of a senseless war.
The Nerevarine remains a promise unfulfilled, and I am as guilty of prideful posturing as every other failed incarnate that occupies this hall.
Ask your question and let's be done with this, Outlander. The Nerevarine must listen as well as proclaim. I refuse to accept wise counsel, which led to the doom of my tribe and the end of my quest to embody the spirit of Nerevar. Take my scroll and remind the wise woman that wisdom ignored is ignorance.
We are the failed incarnates, the Ashlanders who proudly proclaimed themselves to be the Nerevarine, but were found wanting. The Lady of Dawn and Dusk urged us to cooperate. So ask your question, Outlander. Take my scroll and help the wise woman see the lie of unbridled power. I thought myself the reborn Nerevar, for I was the strongest, most powerful warrior in all the land. But power alone won't save my people. In the end, it couldn't even save me.
Mortal, let us speak. I foresaw your usefulness before you even set foot in Vardenfell. Now comes a test that will challenge your ability to separate truth from lies. You must convince the tribes that Chodola is not the Nerevarine. Doversee's wisdom outshines most other mortals. She recognizes the futility of Chodola's claim. If she rebuffs him, however, the tribes will turn on each other, and blood will flow. The staff, Sunra, it makes Chodola confident, reckless. Your instincts served you well. Chodola's path took a dark turn. However, my sight clouds when I look too closely. Sothasil built Sunra, but he did not create it with this vile purpose in mind. You must act on my behalf, and Vivec's. Then go, return to Aldrun, and help the wise woman reveal the falsehood of Chodola's claim, and let Saren assist you. She is my champion and a trusted friend of all Ashlanders. Due to an ancient pact, I am not permitted to interfere in the affairs of Nirn. Even this casual discussion pushes the boundaries of that agreement. Instead, I must work through trusted agents, such as yourself and Saren. Helping that arrogant imposter? Whatever gave you the idea that I was helping that murderer? Vardenfell must stand. Everything I do in this regard serves that single goal. Best that you remember that, mortal.
Ah, a fellow outsider in this inhospitable Sea of Ash. I wonder if we might help each other.
Thank the moon and star. You've returned. The wise woman returned from the cavern of the Incarnate and went right into Scar to meet with the tribes. Chodala's in there too, about to be named the Nerevarine. Tell me you came back with something to stop my brother's rise to power. Ah, of course. Use the tales of the failed Incarnates to counter Chodala's arguments. That's brilliant. Well, except for one problem. An Outlander has no status in the Council. The Ashlanders won't listen to a word you say. Someone else has to present the arguments. Someone they trust. I suppose that means I have to challenge my brother. With your help, of course. Meet me inside.
Must we continue this farce? It's obvious that I'm the Nerevarine.
Someone has stepped forward to challenge your claim, Chodala.
Seren, I'm disappointed in you, dear sister.
Enough. I shall hear your arguments and render my decision.
Even the Outlander can see that I'm the most powerful Ashkan. My strength alone proves that I am the Nerevarine.
Chodala puts forth his great strength as proof of his claim. Give me the scroll that discounts such a trait for the Nerevarine. That makes sense. I'll try that. This doesn't look right.
Seren, the Outlander's lies have no place in this debate.
Be careful. We need to get these right. Yes, that's a sound argument. Incarnate, appear!
As a warrior and as an Ashkan, I was the most powerful of my age. But for all my strength, I failed my people. Don't follow my example.
The faithless houses dare to threaten our land, but we shall meet them in battle, and I will lead us to victory.
This is more nerve-wracking than I anticipated. Which scroll do you recommend to counter this argument? That makes sense. I'll try that. Incarnate, appear!
I thought the path to the Nerevarine was a path of blood and battle, but my love of war was my undoing. War is not the way.
These failed incarnates prove nothing! I need no counsel but my own, as befits my status as the Nerevarine.
I think it's working. Of course. Let's see what happens. Incarnate, appear!
I refuse to accept the counsel of the wise women and the Ashkans. I thought I knew best, but I knew nothing. That is not the way of the Nerevarine.
Seren and the Outlander, their arguments have merit. Chodala, we deny your claim. You are not the Nerevarine.
This proves nothing! Look how the staff protects me! I am the Nerevarine! Red exiles, slay the unbelievers!
No!
Right! Now!
Chodela! For the Nerevarine!
Go to my hut and get my healer's sack. Now.
Right away, hate what my brother's become.
Mortal, I would have words with you. Chodela has been revealed as a failed Nerevarine, but that hasn't dissuaded him from his reckless course of action. As long as he wields the staff, he shall be unstoppable. Time is against you, mortal. Even now, Vivek, that pompous usurper, grows increasingly weaker. As much as I deplore him, Vivek cannot fall to Chodela's vile magic. There's another power at work here. One I can't quite put my finger on. Return to Vivek City. Do what you can to aid Vivek, and pay heed to my faithful vessel, Saren. I name her Champion of the Moon and Star. She will play a pivotal role in ending her brother's march toward godhood, if she survives.
That was exhilarating.
I don't like the looks of that sky.
As a god weakens, so too does his city suffer. I know my people grow fearful. Even the Archcanon is distressed. But the energy that remains to me holds the moonlit in the sky, at least for now. So what news does my eyes and ears bring to me? How this upstart Ashlander learned to attune Sotha Seal's tool confounds my understanding. And he dares use my power? Still, your help is appreciated. Every strike and parry takes us one step closer to ending this threat and restoring my vitality.
Due to Lord Vivek's condition, it falls upon us to find a solution. Lord Vivek must conserve his remaining energy. So we need to solve this problem on our own. It all comes back to Chodala. That damned Ashlander's draining the warrior poet's power. We need to stop him and get that damned staff. How should I know? That's not a skill the Tribunal teaches. Return to Barrelzar's tower and get Sothasil's former apprentice to come up with some kind of countermeasure. I'm sure he knows more than he's told you. I do have one concern, though. You see right through me, Outlander. I have more worries than a Quama queen has eggs. I'm talking about Chodala's sister. Saren claims to want to help, to want peace, but I don't trust her. Seek out Barrelzar, but be wary of the Ashlander's sister. We need to stop Chodala, and to do that, we need to find a way to overcome the device he's wielding. Find Barrelzar and make sure that crazy mage provides you with something we can use to save Lord Vivec. Is the bull sure it can bed the Betty? No. But by all accounts, we'll be better off with Sunara in our hands and away from Chodala. That won't be possible, however, as long as the Ashlander remains impervious to every attack.